Hello out there, everybody. Manny here at Area 503. And I hope you all have been well since our last video.
Today, I just want to take a little bit of time to talk to you all about some recent developments in space news. And I'm going to warn you, towards the end of this video, I kind of go off on a little bit of a rant. Fair warning. Anyhow, first, let's talk about the Starlink project over at SpaceX. Ever since Starlink began deployment in May of 2019, these satellites have been a pain in the butt for astronomers and UFO watchers alike. These satellites often get in the way of astronomers who are trying to use time-lapse photography in order to capture photos. And of course, people mistake these things for UFOs all the time. And so, now astronomers and UFO hunters can celebrate together, because the folks over at SpaceX are working on giving the future Starlink satellites a sun shield to make them less visible from the Earth. Well, it's about dang time. Like I said before, these satellites are a huge pain in the butt for UFO watchers and astronomers, so it's a good thing that SpaceX is listening to the public and adapting these satellites to be less intrusive. I'm pretty sure that astronomers all over the world are going to appreciate the effort in keeping these things less visible. And I know serious UFO watchers like myself are going to love the relief of not having sightings like these clogging up our inbox. Anyhow, I'm a pretty big fan of the Starlink project because it's going to bring a more stable network of communications to the majority of the world. And unlike conventional telephone networks that are based on towers linked by cable, this satellite network will be less prone to sabotage, attack, or accident. So good job, SpaceX. Keep up the great work over there. Let's go ahead and move along to our next topic, which is that NASA has approved a Phase 1 study on the feasibility of a lunar-based crater telescope. Well, that sounds interesting. Let's take a look. The Lunar Crater Radio Telescope, or LCRT, is a kilometer-wide or just over a half a mile wire mesh telescope built into a crater on the far side of the moon. Check that bad boy out. Dang, that's cool. But why would you want to build a satellite on the moon, you might ask? It turns out that there are a number of advantages. For example, telescopes that are based on the Earth have to look through the atmosphere. This is why when you photograph the moon or video the moon, you'll oftentimes see a rippling effect around it. It's a lensing effect due to the light bending slightly as it passes through the atmosphere. But when you view photographs of Earth from the moon, you don't see that rippling effect because there's no atmosphere on the moon. So that's one big advantage. Another big advantage is that placing this telescope on the far side of the moon allows the moon to act as a shield blocking the telescope from all of the radio interference broadcasted from Earth. This is a very large problem for most space-based telescopes, and it won't be for the LCRT. Pretty cool, right? But how does one go about building a telescope in a crater on the moon? Well, it's no easy task. You see, at first the unit arrives as two pieces which then separate and land independently. The first piece, the lander, descends down into the crater, while the second piece, the duaxle lander, touches down on the rim of the crater and then deploys duaxle rovers. These little rovers are going to climb down the side of the crater and grab a cable from the lander and then carry it back up to the top, all in unison, and then anchor the cables to the rim of the crater, pulling this cable structure into place, creating the telescope. I'd like you to just take a moment and really think about this proposal. We are talking about launching a satellite to the moon that will carry with it two rovers to perform complicated construction of a permanent structure, all of it without direct human interaction, completely automated by artificial intelligence and robotics. Wow, these guys don't aim low, do they? I mean, I find this proposal to be extremely ambitious. But you know, with big risk comes big rewards, because if this technology can be perfected, we can modify it to send robotic teams of builders not only to the moon, but to Mars to pre-build structures before human beings arrive. They could set up greenhouses and electrolysis machines to separate hydrogen and oxygen from water that was also collected by robots. And this technology could also be further refined to create teams of robotic asteroid farmers that could go out and collect resources from asteroids. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but for now, we're finally starting to see a vision of what the future is going to be like. And it's kind of exciting, I think. What do you guys think about AI-driven robotics used in space? Let me know in the comments section below. Let's go ahead and move along to our next subject, which is the release of a new study that makes it harder to elucidate the mystery of Planet 9. Elucidate. What does that mean? To make lucid or clear. To explain. Okay, why not just say explain? So I guess this new study makes it harder to explain the mystery of Planet 9. If you don't know what the Planet 9 theory is, in a nutshell, the theory originated back in 2014 and states that there should be a ninth planet somewhere in the outer reaches of our solar system, based upon the orbits and inclination of other asteroids and planets in our solar system. But this new research seems to cast doubt on the Planet 9 theory. The team used a previous study done based on the data collected by the Dark Energy Survey, or DES. They used the same set of data, but they applied a new set of variables and came out with a different result. The team concluded that the model that they created could show that Planet 9 does not exist. However, they do admit that due to a large number of variables, including a limited selection of data to work with, they cannot conclusively state that the Planet 9 theory has been proven false. They can only state that the new model that they have created also fits with the data collected by the Dark Energy study as well. And so this new theory is also a potential solution to the problem, along with the Planet 9 theory. So don't go citing this study in a Planet 9 argument at your local nerd bar. I'm glad to know that people are taking a good second look at the data provided and trying to come up with alternative solutions. Only by truly questioning a theory can we verify its integrity. And so it is essential that we question everything in our search for universal truth. Let's go ahead and move along to our next subject. Space Force, talking about Space Force. We got a Space Force. What do they do? Nah, but seriously, let's talk about Space Force for just a little bit. In recent news, it was announced that the Space Force had unveiled its first weapon, at least its first public weapon. Futurism.com reports that the Space Force recently acquired its first offensive weapon, a device capable of blocking satellite communications, temporarily rendering orbiting satellites useless. Well, that just sounds frightening. I mean, I remember reading an article last year that said that Russia has this same technology, and it's probably not very long until most of the other countries that can afford it buy one too. But is it really such a good idea to go around knocking each other's satellites out? I mean, what if one of these temporarily dead satellites hits another one and breaks apart, creating a chain reaction of a bunch of satellites, and creating a massive debris field of shrapnel, wiping out everything in its path? Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Maybe we should be exercising just a little bit more restraint when deciding which technologies we are going to develop. And that brings up something that I want to talk to you guys about for just a little bit. And I warned you earlier in the video there was a rant coming. Well, here it comes. In my opinion, the United States, Russia, and China are all showing signs that they are soon going to be withdrawing from the OuterSpace Treaty of 1967. I've talked about the treaty before, and I'll link to the treaty in the description below so that you can go ahead and read for it yourself. But I have to tell you that I think that this is a disappointing and frightening prospect. Let me tell you why. The OuterSpace Treaty of 1967 embodies all that is ideal about humankind. The treaty protects the world from any nation putting weapons of mass destruction into space. The treaty also guarantees that the province of space belongs to all mankind in all countries, regardless of the ability to pay. This means that the resources of all these asteroids, on the moon, and even other planets, all of it belongs to all of us. Me, you, all of us. It's ours. Equally, no matter what nation, race, or religion. Now, let me tell you what I think is going to happen. I think that either the United States or Russia is going to accuse the other side of building weapons in space. And they will use that dubious claim to withdraw from the treaty. Then, the other side will use the fact that the first side withdrew to also withdraw from the treaty. And then afterwards, all the other countries are going to withdraw to protect themselves, of course. Now, the media in all of these countries is going to upplay the threat of danger from the other side so that this seems like a really good thing to get out of this treaty. But in reality, what's really going on? It's a cash grab. It's a robbery on a grand scale of every human being on the planet. When these nations withdraw from the OuterSpace Treaty, the province of space will no longer belong to all of mankind. It will belong to whoever gets to it first. Or the guy who's got the biggest gun, so to speak, because there will be no law governing space, and so anything goes, and the last man standing wins. And I'm afraid that man's going to be the corporations, and those same corporations are going to end up owning all those resources. The corporations, not all of mankind, not you, not me, not our children. I don't want to give up my claim on those resources. Do you? Do you want to relinquish that claim on behalf of your descendants as well? Me either. But what can we do about it? We can educate people. We can educate them to the fact that they have these rights. We can educate them that these resources exist and they are theirs, as long as they can keep them. Ask someone, say, hey, how does it feel to be the richest person in the universe? And then explain to them that no matter how rich or poor they are here on Earth, no matter what nation they live in or were born in, as a human being, the resources of the entire universe, excluding this planet, it all belongs to them equally, regardless of their ability to pay. What else can we do? Vote. And vote for candidates that care about something other than the economy and money. These candidates generally end up being corrupt. What's one last thing you can do? When people in all countries start setting the stages for the withdrawal from the treaty, resist the social media campaign that will most likely accompany it. You will see all sorts of memes and social media bots and blogs posting all kinds of stuff about what the other side is doing. They're going to try to sell this as a necessary move, for safety of course, but never lose sight of what it truly is. It's the largest robbery in the history of humankind.
Hands up! Your money or your life? Give me the loot.
A robbery from a victim who doesn't likely even know what wealth they truly have. It's a robbery that, if successful, will go undiscovered by victims and history both. A robbery that only the people of Earth can stop, as one people, as one world, together. Don't let it happen, folks. Educate yourself. Educate others. Talk to them. Maybe if enough of us work on this, we can do something about it. Thanks for sticking me out, guys, and hearing my opinions. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments section below, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and give us a shot. Well guys, for now, that's all I've got on science and space exploration news.
As always, this has been Manny at Area 503. And I wish you all the best until we meet again. And I am out of here to continue my search for universal truth.
Space Force, talking about Space Force, we got a space... Try again. I can't leave that in. Oh, the heck with it, I'm gonna leave it in.